Two strangers start yelling on a sidewalk. You don't know either of them. You have somewhere to be. And yet your feet slow down. Your head turns. Your whole body angles toward the noise before you've even decided to look. Why does a fight pull your attention harder than almost anything else in the modern world? The obvious answer is curiosity. But the real answer is far stranger.
Your brain isn't watching a fight because it's nosy. It's watching because for most of human history, a nearby fight could decide whether you lived or died. Not because you were in it, because the outcome told you something you desperately needed to know. Think about what a fight actually reveals. Who is strong? Who backs down? Who has allies? Who is dangerous when cornered? In a small hunter-gatherer band, that information wasn't gossip. It was survival data. Knowing the pecking order meant knowing who to avoid, who to align with, and who might turn on you next. Missing that information could cost you your place in the group, or worse.
So evolution built you a very specific kind of attention. Fast, automatic, almost impossible to override, and aimed directly at conflict. Psychologists call this negativity bias, and it has been studied for decades. Researcher John Cacioppo, working with colleagues in the late 1990s, ran experiments showing that the human brain reacts more strongly to negative stimuli than to positive ones of equal intensity. Show people a pleasant image and an unpleasant image side by side, and their brain activity spikes harder for the unpleasant one, every time. Positive events are useful to notice. Negative events, historically, could kill you. Your brain simply weighted them differently, and that weighting never got updated.
That's why a compliment fades from memory by dinner, but a single argument can replay in your head for days. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's running an ancient priority system that still treats conflict as the most urgent category of information there is. Now, add another layer. Humans are an intensely social species, and social status has always mattered enormously to survival. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent years studying egalitarian hunter-gatherer societies and found something surprising. These groups weren't naturally peaceful by nature. They worked hard, constantly, to suppress bullying and domination within the tribe. Watching who tried to seize power and how the group responded was a full-time, unconscious project for everyone involved.
A fight in that context is a live status update. It shows the tribe recalibrating itself in real time. That's part of why you can't look away when two people argue in public today. Somewhere underneath the discomfort, an ancient part of your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. Reading dominance, reading alliance, reading danger. It doesn't know that this argument at the grocery store has nothing to do with your survival. It only knows that conflict equals information, and information could once mean the difference between eating dinner and losing everything. There's also a physiological piece to this. Your amygdala, the small almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain, is built to detect threat faster than you can consciously think. When raised voices, sudden movement, or aggressive body language enter your field of vision, the amygdala fires before your prefrontal cortex, the slower, more reasoning part of your brain, even catches up. That's why you notice a fight before you decide to notice it. Your attention gets hijacked, not requested.
This is also why fights spread through crowds so easily. One person turns to look, then another. Within seconds, an entire street corner has quietly reoriented itself toward the same spot, like a school of fish turning in unison. No one planned that. No one announced it. It happened because thousands of individual amygdalae were all running the same ancient threat detection program at the same time. Modern media understood this instinct long before neuroscience explained it. News broadcasts lead with conflict. Reality shows manufacture arguments. Comment sections reward outrage over agreement. None of this is an accident, and none of it required deep psychological insight to discover. It only required noticing what people already couldn't look away from and giving them more of it. Here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Watching conflict doesn't just capture your attention, It can genuinely feel good in a strange, uncomfortable way. Some researchers describe this using the idea of morbid curiosity, first explored formally by psychologist Coltan Scrivner, who studies why humans seek out frightening or violent content even when it makes them uneasy. His research suggests that safely observing danger from a distance lets your brain rehearse threat responses without any real risk. Watching a fight from across the street is, in a sense, practice. Your body gets to run the fear response, learn from it, and calm back down, all without ever being in danger itself.
That's why true crime podcasts, disaster documentaries, and viral fight videos perform so well. They're not just entertainment. They're low-risk simulations of exactly the kind of danger your ancestors needed to study closely to survive.
So, the fight on the sidewalk isn't really about the two strangers arguing. It's about you and a survival system that has never stopped running, long after the world it was built for disappeared. Your ancestors who paid the closest attention to conflict were more likely to notice threats early, choose allies wisely, and avoid becoming targets themselves. Their descendants inherited that same hyper-attentive wiring. You are one of those descendants.
None of this means you're rude or dark or secretly enjoy cruelty. It means you're carrying a very old tool that was once essential, dropped into a world that no longer asks the same questions it was built to answer. The tool still works exactly as designed. It just fires at situations that carry none of the stakes it was built for.
Understanding this doesn't make the pull disappear completely, but it does change what you do with it. You can notice the moment your attention gets hijacked and ask whether the situation actually concerns you, or whether an ancient alarm is simply doing what ancient alarms do. You can recognize why an argument you weren't part of still lingers in your mind at midnight. You can see the algorithm feeding you conflict for exactly what it is, an old instinct being exploited by a new machine.
The next time you catch yourself slowing down to watch two strangers argue, notice what's actually happening underneath. That isn't nosiness. That isn't weakness. That is a survival system, older than language itself, still scanning the world for information it once needed to stay alive. So the real reason you can't look away from a fight was never really about the fight at all. It was always about you and an ancient watcher inside you that has never once stopped paying attention.